This is a special live report from About Space Today.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Coming to you live
Liftoff.
from Florida's Space Coast, it's About Space Today. And here's your host about space, David Denault.
Well, good evening, and thank you for joining our coverage tonight of the second independent manned mission to the International Space Station, a private crew mission. So this is the second attempt, and we hope that you will stay with us today. We have had some possibility of weather situations. We have moved indoors, both Dawn and I, as a precaution. And let me introduce my co-host this afternoon, Dawn Meyer. Welcome back to the launch desk. Missed you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's good to be back.
Well, Dawn, this is an interesting mission that we're looking at as a private mission to the space station, but it's also the first of its kind international crew.
Yes, these are the first time that they're going to have any people coming from
Saudi?
Saudi Arabia.
Yes, a little hint there.
Well, it's KSA is what they keep abbreviating.
Yes, they do.
it as.
Yes.
So, yes, so there'll be two people. This is their first time in space. And actually, this is the first time in space for everyone except Peggy Whitson, who's the commander.
Mm-hmm. Well, during the news conference that they had just a weeks ago, there's some video. Why don't we let the crew introduce themselves?
But we are so excited to get to space. As Bettina mentioned, we're going to be doing over 20 different investigations. I'm really personally excited about some of the life sciences and the bioengineering ones in particular, but we have a lot of outreach where we're talking to students. We really want to encourage students to do science, technology, engineering, and math. And so we have a lot of objectives to try and demonstrate things, show young people things, and John's got even more big plan for how he's going to impact the young people in the future. So we have great plans, and we are getting everything lined up, hashing through all the details so that we will be as prepared as possible when we arrive at the station. This crew, I'm really happy that you're going to get to meet them in person because they are such a phenomenal group of people. So next up, pilot John Schaffner.
Thank you, Peggy. You know, to say I'm excited to be here would be a gross understatement. It's a huge opportunity. I'm very privileged to be with Peggy, Rihanna, and Ali on this fabulous mission, AX2. I feel like I've been preparing this my entire life. I've been a fan of space since I was a child. I grew up in the age of the early space race. So getting here now and having a chance to fulfill that excitement is very, very powerful to me. And it gives me a chance to demonstrate what I believe is the opportunity of space for everyone by showing what can be done by private and commercial space interests, supporting the role of Axiom Space to develop the next level space station and to develop the methodology using assets of NASA and SpaceX and commercial space to help do that. So I'm truly excited to have the chance to get on orbit, participate in a lot of high level and very valuable science, and also to reach out to students as well as educators to demonstrate and show them that space is here now. We can utilize that for interest to raise the levels of humanity, to help improve life on Earth and improve the things that we do every day, as well as prepare us for that generational journey that we're about to step off into for space flight forever. So it's going to be a great mission, and I look forward to participating and hope you'll follow us.
Up next is Ali Alkhan.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna echo my friends and say we are really honored and privileged to have you guys and to be part of this amazing mission. And it's gonna be our second journey as Saudi Arabians to space, and the first time to the International Space Station. Me and my crewmate Rayana Bernawi. We are really thrilled and excited for our mission and to represent Saudi Arabia on this journey. I'm really looking forward to all the experiment we're going to be conducting on board the International Space Station, and also all the outreach events we are planning to do with the new generation who's going to be involving in the STEM field, inshallah, in the future. Sorry. And previously, I've been flying. I had a career flying fighter jets for the Royal Saudi Air Force, accumulating over 2,300 flying hours. And now I'm ready and excited for this new chapter of my life, and which clearly gonna change many perspectives, including mine and others. And now to Ray.
Hello, everyone. Well, I'm at least as excited as my crewmates here today. So I have worked for the past 10 years as a researcher. So research has been my passion in life. I have worked on stem cells and tissue reengineering, and I'm very happy and honored to be here today representing the government of Saudi Arabia and the Saudi Space Commission as the first Saudi women astronaut going to the International Space Station. I'm sure with my crewmates here, along with Ali, we're going to have a successful mission. We have plenty of research to do on board station, and we're very excited for the part that we'll be engaging with kids from all over Saudi Arabia and all over the world, talking about our experiments, talking about space, and having them trigger their curiosity towards space. And this is what we are here to do. So I'm sure that we're gonna enjoy this mission. We're almost 5 days away, so our excitement is above the limits.
Back. And that is the crew that's going to the International Space Station on the second private mission. Our coverage will continue of the Ax-2 launch as America and the world is watching America in space. D&D Cruise and Tours is the official agent for About Space, and we invite you to come fly away to all-inclusive resort island destinations, or a cruise vacation from Port Canaveral, and even visit the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, or just come and see the parks. Call for a discount cruise or an island getaway or the Florida beaches. Call today. The call is free, and so are our services. Call 877-747-8631. That's 877-747-8631. We are Florida's group travel specialists. Ever dream of an island getaway at an all-inclusive resort? Or going on an island-hopping cruise to multiple island destinations? See sun-bleached beaches and swim in the azure waters of the Caribbean Sea. Call today for your special discount prices for your island getaway. This is a special offer for About Space by calling 877-747-8631. And let's go and explore the islands of the Caribbean. And welcome back to our coverage of Ax-2, the private mission to the International Space Station. Well, Dawn, I guess the question is always, the patches are becoming more and more of the news of a space launch. You've got some details on the current patch, don't you?
Yes, I do, David. Represents stability and power. It has a sea of bright stars and constellations on a black canvas, honoring the mission's focus of inspiration education, and teaching, symbolized by STEAM symbols. And that stands for S is for science, represented by a DNA strand. T is for technology, represented by a set of connected circles. E is engineering, represented by a cog, or wheel. A is for art, represented by a paintbrush. And M is for math, represented by the pi symbol. And then at the center of the patch is the International Space Station with a lavender ascent path from Earth to space. And the color lavender has a special cultural meaning for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It represents the nation's deserts and plateaus in the spring when they're covered with flower blooms. Lavender ceremonial events and a symbol of hospitality. And then also in the patch, that sweep of purple has 5 lines which also represent, again, the STEAM elements. And it also allows them position as a contributor to the global space community.
Well, it's quite a history that they've put together there as the launch goes. Well, we're just minutes away from this afternoon's early evening launch of Ax-2. On the way to the International Space Station they will go. Our coverage will continue as America and the world is watching About Space today.
Everyone in my family went on a Carnival cruise. Maggie didn't come though because she's a dog. Mom did things I've never seen her do. Dad was himself, and I met this girl who was pretty cool, I guess. You're my best friend! Then I saw a bird. Hi.
Cool bird.
And Dad told us to put on sunscreen, and we had the best time together. Please don't tell my parents I said that.
Come to the land of orange groves and palm trees. Come to the land of theme parks. Come to the land of sunny beaches and the azure waters of the Atlantic Ocean. So come and visit Florida for lasting memories. Email us. Email david.ddcruiseandtours@gmail.com or call D&D Cruise and Tours at 877-747-8631 for your next family, cruise, or theme park vacation. Let us provide you your next visit with our travel experience, not experimentation. We are members of IATAN and CLIA. Email david.ddcruiseandtours@gmail.com. Serving the Southeast, traveler since 1985. Welcome back. Mission Control here at the Kennedy Space Center. So they are go for launch, even though there's a potential of a little bit of weather. But apparently the Air Force downrange has cleared for a launch. Dawn, as we look at, I guess, the Axiom program, the long range here is for a space station. Is that pretty much it?
Yes, they're planning on building what is going to be the replacement for the International Space Station once it's retired in around 2030, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to have everything done in time. Plus, they're also adding a module to the existing International Space Station in the next couple of years. I believe it's scheduled for 2025.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I guess if we could, at this point, we're just minutes from launch, we could show a quick video of the Axiom space station, what it might look like. Okay, welcome back. Well, that's kind of get you an idea. And Don, I guess what we've been looking for here is a less expensive way to get into space and make it available for just people, hopefully one day, just to take a holiday in space. But I'm not sure if the price has to come down just a few million at least till we see all of this.
More than likely, at least for me, certainly to take it, it's got to come down a bit.
Uh-huh. Well, we are, looks like, right on schedule to launch, and our coverage will continue from the Kennedy Space Center after these messages from Carnival Cruise Lines. Welcome aboard. And did you know that Carnival Cruise Lines has a chief fun officer?
Welcome to the Carnival 30-minute tour.
Hey, Shaq. It's a 30-second tour.
No, man, it's like...
Now it's 26.
Welcome aboard! Ocean! Skyride! Mini golf. Relax, relax, relax! You take this man to be your husband?
I do.
Married. No time for basketball. Pool! Carnival, choose fun.
Book your fun cruise from Florida's 5 ports: Jacksonville, Port Canaveral, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. Call D&D Cruise and Tours at 877-747-8631. Again, that's 877-747-8631, and sail out of sunny Florida and see the Caribbean. Are you ready to fly away on a dream vacation? For cruises and all-inclusive resort vacations, call D&D Cruise and Tours at 877-747-8631. That's 877-747-8631. And see us on Facebook, D&D Cruise and Tours, where your dreams become a reality. Welcome back to our coverage of Ax-2, the mission to the International Space Station, the second crew that is actually paying its own way. It's an 8-day mission to the station and 10 days overall. Dawn, I guess, have you been following the mission here? We need to maybe take a look and go to maybe a mission control and get a little update if they have something at this point.
Okay.
See the arms opening up now around the second stage.
We should now be able to see that strong backward track just a couple degrees away from the launch vehicle.
It's weird, you guys are
Upon
slightly
liftoff,
ahead of
it
me
will
by
move back
about
even further
7
in order to
seconds.
clear the way for Falcon 9. Looks like we can start to see that movement now. This structure is what is utilized to horizontally integrate the vehicles while still in the hangar, as well as transport them horizontally to the launch pad and then raise them to their vertical launch position.
And we've got the strong back is now, you see a little bounce there as it stops.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
And right on time, stage 1 LOX load is complete. We're down to just loading a liquid oxygen on the second stage. That'll wrap up just after T-minus 2 minutes, at which point we'll have the 1,000,000 pounds propellant on board Falcon 9 ready to fly.
We can see the vehicle continuing to vent some of that gaseous, or the liquid oxygen that has.
We'll be back with more live coverage of the launch as we get a chance to talk a little bit. Dawn, is it an unusual amount of time, would you say, having the crew a private crew go for 8 days on a mission like this?
Well, the last time they went, they ended up being up there, I think, for it was a total of 14 days because of the hurricane, and they got kind of stuck there for a while. So I don't know what's normal. It's only
Well,
the second one.
That's true. That's never happened. You're a space shuttle veteran of 28 years. Anything like that ever happened with a space shuttle?
You mean that it got stuck?
Well, of weather or something?
So
Yeah.
forth? Yeah, there were a number of times that they had to stay up there a couple days extra because of weather conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, you know, Florida has lots of storms and rain and that sort of thing. So, especially if they were planning to land at the runway out at the Space Center, they had to be careful of the weather.
Mm-hmm. All right, we are in the final countdown stages now. We're about 1 minute or so, a little longer than that, from launch. Let's go back to mission control at the Kennedy Space Center.
Leading off, excess pressure in the strongback. That's what's giving that large white plume as cold gas meets the warm Florida air and condenses the moisture. Coming up on 1 minute where the flight computers will take over the sequence. Let's listen in to the launch of Falcon 9 with Dragon and the Axiom 2 crew.
FTS is armed. Falcon 9 is in startup and is now controlling. Dragon is in countdown.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch. If you're in there, how nervous are you?
Dragon, copy. Go for launch.
Is your heart racing if you're in there?
Mm-hmm.
T-minus 30
I don't
seconds.
know, I'd be beating through my chest in my uniform. Because even though they count it down, I don't think anything prepares you for the jolt.
Yeah.
When that thing starts to push.
T-minus 15. T-minus 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines full power. And liftoff, Falcon 9. Go Axiom.
Copy, 1 Alpha. Together we expand what is possible in low Earth orbit. Ad Astra and Godspeed AX2.
Let me know with a hand signal when you want to come back.
Plus 30 seconds into this historic. T plus 36 seconds into flight. A great view of Falcon 9 heading to space.
Power telemetry is nominal.
A great
Stage 1
call.
throttle down.
Power telemetry nominal. We're into the throttle bucket. Is the first stage is throttle down power on the Merlin engines in preparation for max Q.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Faster than the speed of sound as we're getting great views from the first stage camera looking back at Kennedy Space Center and Complex 39A.
Stage 1 throttle up.
Max Q. See the clouds, Batiste?
We're out of the throttle bucket.
Stage 1
That's probably part of that system that they were worried about.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
We're at full power, and that call on 1 Bravo, that's another one of those abort modes. As we get higher and faster, the logic for driving to the contingency curve changes from stage to
Impact
stage.
shield is underway.
Chill announcement says we're getting the turbo pump on the second stage engine cooled down in preparation for its light up coming up in just another minute from now. Again, great views looking back, and you can see the contrail as we left 39A and the shadow of the contrail against the cloud deck around Florida. And we're coming up 3 big sequences and a view live of the crew inside Dragon. They're getting ready. We're going to get 3 events here: main engine cutoff, stage separation, and then we're going to light the second stage engine. We've heard the throttle down in preparation for stage separation.
He's getting the sonic boom here now. I can hear it outside. I can feel the building shaking.
Stage separation confirmed. Copy, 2 Alpha. Impact ignition.
Stage 1 boost back startup.
All right, stage separation. We've lit the second stage engine. The first stage is into the boost back burn, working its way back towards Cape Canaveral. Views on the left side, that's the first stage. Engines running as we come back to the launch site or the landing site. Second stage engine nozzle is visible on the right side as we're powering the Axiom 2 crew into low Earth orbit on the way to the International Space Station.
Don, you'll hear the boom, won't you?
If it lands on land, is
Waiting
it
for
coming
call
back
out
on
that
land?
the
Yes.
back burn is complete.
Oh yeah, I'll hear it at 8 minutes.
Stage 1 boost back shut down.
Right on time. First stage completed the first of 3 burns heading back to the landing site. Second stage continuing on power and on trajectory.
Acquisition signal, Bermuda.
Head northeast, the Bermuda ground station.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Bermuda is listening into the vehicle
Copy,
now.
nominal trajectory.
And the crew hears the call out of a nominal trajectory. So 4 minutes into flight, everything continuing to go well. First stage heading back. And there's the crew on the second stage getting the ride into orbit to the space station.
Strike those boots.
Come back to us for 1 second.
All ready?
Yep.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Well, Don, you're a lot closer to the coast than I am. Will you hear that sonic boom when he comes back?
Yes, definitely. Every time that they land the booster back on land, we have a phenomenal sonic boom that we hear. So it's usually about T plus 8 minutes that it happens.
Uh-huh.
So we have about another 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right, well, we'll be expecting to hear that. We'll go back now to the booster as well going to orbit, and I say the booster coming back, and we'll go back live coverage of the SpaceX launch, and we'll take it right now.
Acquisition signal, boss.
They'll guide the first stage through once we get into the atmosphere following the entry burn, which will be coming up here in another couple of minutes. On the right-hand side, the second stage with the Dragon capsule on top, heading up the eastern seaboard of the U.S. We've just heard the call out of Boston. That's the New Hampshire tracking station, has picked up the signal.
Dragon, SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
And see, continuing to make those call outs that we want to hear. Everything
Trajectory
continuing to look
nominal.
good. And the crew echoing them right back down. Good comms with the crew. We've been able to bring some live video shots from inside the capsule as they're headed to space. And there's another view of the crew.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there we heard that the startup burn for that stage 1 booster, you can see it there on the left-hand side of your screen, has now begun.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
In conclusion of that entry burn, that burn helps to slow the vehicle down as it re-enters the Earth's atmosphere. The first stage sees high drag, which scrubs roughly 70% of the velocity by the time
Dragon,
that landing.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Love to hear that call out. Everything.
Nominal trajectory.
Beautiful view of planet Earth coming to us from the second stage views on the right-hand side. Left-hand side, our first view of the Space Coast once again. This booster is attempting a landing at LZ-1.
Stage 1 transonic.
That booster is now traveling near the speed of sound. Live view coming to you from one of our tracking cameras. We can see the grid fins actuating to help steer the booster down.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
Standing by to...
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
There you
Stage 1
can,
landing confirmed.
you can see that first stage has landed back at LZ-1. This is the first time that we have performed a land landing on a crew mission. Coming up next will be second engine cutoff, or SECO, and that's where after that engine cuts off, second stage will coast for a few minutes until Dragon is commanded to separate.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
We're expecting SECO to occur in about 20 seconds.
Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
Commander Peggy Whitson continuing to call out the abort modes.
SECO.
All right, on time shutdown of that second engine. Also confirming that the launch escape system is now disarmed.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
All right, and there's that call out. We can confirm good orbital insertion.
Copy, nominal insertion.
Dragon SpaceX launch escape system
Alright.
disarmed.
We can see the crew playing with their harnesses now that they are in zero G, which I think we just got a view of our zero G Stuffy. Clearly the crew is having fun already. Right after liftoff, I think we heard a laugh coming from Commander Peggy Whitson, which, being a NASA legend and one of the most decorated astronauts of all time, it's amazing to hear that even a space veteran as she still has fun at liftoff.
All right, ready? 3, 2.
The next event that we have coming up.
Well, welcome back to our coverage. They have now the orbit insertion, and they are on their way now to perform additional maneuvers that will take them to the International Space Station. But Dawn, let me ask you a question. Axiom is playing a more important role than we've seen in the past. It's a name I think it'll become more familiar to people as the space program moves forward. But also, they have just received a contract, is that right, for the spacesuit that'll be used on the moon?
Yes, they are creating the next generation of spacesuits for the Artemis landing on the moon. And they came out with them in April so that people could see them, although they're not the same color that they're going to be on the moon. Once they're on the moon, they have to be white due to temperature constraints, so that it can keep the astronauts cool. But the spacesuit is going to be pretty amazing. It's going to allow a lot more flexibility. It's going to allow them to actually bend down, which the Apollo astronauts, I don't know if you've ever watched them where they're bouncing along and they fall over. They're going to try to avoid that now.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. And be able to grab things easier. And just be able to basically expand the exploration needs and expand the scientific opportunities that the new spacesuit will enable them to do.
Why don't we just take a look at that new spacesuit now?
All right.
I'm excited by some of the really new developments in technology that have been added in, and I think it's going to be a great suit.
It is an unbelievable amount of effort, from seamstresses to requirement specialists to engineers, managers. We have a range of skill sets, and everyone is so proud to be doing what they're doing.
It's like a little bit of each of us is going up there with the astronauts, and a little bit of our mentors, a little bit of our family. Like it's it's more than just ourselves, right? It's everyone before us and everyone after us. So that's, you can definitely feel it.
Well, that's a look at the spacesuit. Absolutely remarkable, isn't it, Dawn?
It is. It looks pretty cool, and it was actually, they did collaboration with Astra Marquis from the Apple TV Plus series For All Mankind to create that black and orange cover for it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, once they actually get to the one that's going to be worn on the moon, it has to be white to reflect heat and protect them from extreme high temperatures.
Well, Dawn, we're seeing a brand new era of independent space travel, pretty much, private missions to now begin the effort by 2025 to put a new space station, the Axiom space station, in place. And we'll have new spacesuits, which I guess the spacesuits that you had on the shuttle, weren't those still being used in the program?
Well, yes, they are still being used until, of course, they have something to replace them with. So these will start replacing them as they can, as they manufacture them, so that, because some of those suits are 30, 40 years old. So
Amazing.
it's probably time to get a new one. They did a good job, and it's time to get a new one.
I agree with that. Dawn, thank you for joining us on our coverage today. And all we can say is they are on their way to the International Space Station, the second private mission to do so. 4 astronauts, 2 Americans, and uniquely from Saudi Arabia to have the pilot and then also a female. So that's a first for them. There'll be a lot more interactions with their countries as well as ours to talk to students about STEM. So from all of us here at the Kennedy Space Center, thank you for joining our coverage of Axiom 2. I'm David Denault.
And I'm Dawn Meyer.